The hour of 11 a.m. having arrived, the House will come to order. Members, please take your seats. Sergeants at Arms, please close the doors of the House. Prayer today will be offered by our colleague, Representative Ledbetter. Immediately after prayer, we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Members and guests, please rise as able.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Colleagues, prior to prayer, consider scripture with me from the book of Colossians, chapter 3, verses 12 through 15. Since God chose you to be the holy people he loves, you must clothe yourselves with tender-hearted mercy, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Make allowance for each other's faults and forgive anyone who offends you. Remember, the Lord forgave you, so you must forgive others. Above all, clothe yourselves with love, which binds us all together in perfect harmony. And let the peace that comes from Christ rule in your hearts. For as members of one body, you are called to live in peace and always be thankful. Colleagues, please pray with me. Almighty God, we thank you for the wisdom of your word. As we've read from the letter to the Colossians, help us to put on compassion, kindness, humility, patience, and above all, love. Let your peace rule in our hearts and guide our work in this chamber today and for all sessions. Grant each member here wisdom and deliberation, integrity in decision-making, and a sincere commitment to serve those who have entrusted us with this responsibility. May our words and actions reflect honor, justice, and service, Father, as your word teaches us. Whatever we do in word or deed, may we do it with gratitude and a desire to serve faithfully. Bless this house, O Lord, the people we represent, and our great Commonwealth. Guide us in the work before us this day, and in your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance. Sergeant at Arms will open the doors of the House. Members and guests, please take your seats. Without objection, the approval of the Journal from Monday, June the 15th, 2026 will be postponed until printed. Colleagues, if you can take your seats so we can introduce our guests. The House will come to order. Our colleague, Representative Brennan, who serves as neighbors in Bucks County, along with Representative Emmerich, who serves as neighbors in the Northampton, have the world heavyweight champion, Larry Holmes, here on the floor of the House this morning. He and his wife, Diane Robinson Holmes, founded Heart of a Legend, Incorporated, in 2015. Their organization partners with local community groups to support neighborhoods. Their mission is to enhance the well-being of individuals and families, to assist with hardships, to empower and encourage the next generation of leaders to dream big and build productive futures. Larry and Diane Holmes are here today to advocate for legislation to end human trafficking. Let's welcome the heavyweight champion and his lovely wife to the floor of the House. They're seated to the left of the Speaker's rostrum. Representative Brennan has another special guest seated to the left of the speaker's rostrum this morning. We are thrilled to welcome the Honorable Jack Piniella from the Pennsylvania Superior Court, along with his wife, Jeannie Piniella. They are friends of Larry and Diane Holmes. Your Honor, welcome to the floor of the House. Thank you both for being here. Also seated to the left of the speaker's rostrum, the chair has a special guest today, my friend from West Philadelphia, Mr. Charles Tony Barr. He is a community leader and a victim advocate for the Anti-Violence Partnership of Philadelphia. He is the chairman of the management team at the Philadelphia Masjid. The chair was with him recently celebrating the Eid, where he got the street at the Masjid renamed Philadelphia Masjid Way. Tone, we're all so proud of you. Please stand. Welcome to the floor of the House. In the back of the House, the chair is honored to bring to the floor the students, the parents, and the leadership team from Montgomery County, Pennsylvania chapter of Jack and Jill of America. These mothers and children, who are ages 2 to 19 years old, are dedicated to nourishing the future African American leaders by strengthening our children through leadership development, volunteer service, philanthropic giving, and civic duty. With the students, the moms, and I think one dad is here from Jack and Jill, Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. Please stand. We are so honored to welcome you to the floor of the House. Our colleague who serves our neighbors in York, Representative Hill Evans, has some special guests also in the back of the House. Today we have on the floor Miss Pennsylvania 2025, Victoria Vespico. Victoria is Victoria is honored to represent Pennsylvania. She is the 95th Miss Pennsylvania. She is a proud native of Northeastern Pennsylvania. She graduated from Penn State, where she studied corporate communication. She is with the Miss Pennsylvania 2026 candidates all throughout the state, including Brian Tate, the board president for Miss Pennsylvania. With this cohort of candidates, please stand. Miss Pennsylvania, please stand again. Welcome to the floor of the House. Our colleague, Representative Borowski, serving her neighbors in Delaware County, has upstairs in the gallery Holly Verdame, the president of the Pennsylvania Association of School Nurses and Practitioners, along with Kayla Daughtry, from their legislative team, and a school nurse, Leanne Corey. They are here today from Delaware County with these guests. Please stand. Thank you for being here. Representative Borowski also has Ethan Strain here, a student at the University of Pittsburgh who's studying political science and pre-law. Ethan will be in the office of Rep. Borowski this summer. Ethan, thank you for the hard work you'll do in Delco. Welcome. Representative DeLoso has Luke Broadhurst, a student at Penn State University, who is a political science major and a part of the mock trial team. He is here to serve in a commitment of public service as a legislative intern for Representative DeLoso. Luke, where are you? Welcome to the floor of the House, and thank you for the work you'll do in Delco. Representative Flick, who serves as neighbors in Lycoming County, has Carrie Pauling, a manager in Williamsport, his district office manager, and he has his legislative intern, Jaden Phillips. Jaden's also studying at Penn State, studying criminology and minoring in sociology. Jaden and Carrie, thank you for taking care of the neighbors back home in Lycoming. Where are you? Please stand. Welcome to the floor of the House. Representative Rivera, who serves Lancaster County, has Luke Welch, a recent graduate of Manheim Township High School. Luke will be attending Villanova University this fall to study political science. Luke is visiting the Capitol today. Luke is in the gallery. Please stand. Welcome. Representative Brennan has summer interns in the gallery. We are joined this morning from Leah Bruda from Bates College, Daniela Salinas from IE University in Spain. We have Ethan Bolanos, who's a Central Bucks student, Pedrick Smith, a Central Bucks student, Riza Danespoy, a Central Bucks student, and we have Ryan Shaw from the George School. With these summer interns in Bucks County, please stand. Welcome to the floor of the House. Representative Sappy, who serves her neighbors in Chester County, has the Unionville Community Fair Court. We are excited to welcome, and please stand as I say your name, Madeline Van Aken, Abby Stone, Lizzie Karen, their chaperone, Debbie Pritchard. This Unionville Community Fair has been celebrating agriculture in Chester County for over 100 years, and we are so grateful to have them here on the floor of the House, along with the Unionville Community Fair Queen. Unionville Community Fair Queen, congratulations. Thank you all for being here. Welcome. Representative Daley in Montgomery County has Brett Roberts visiting the floor of the House today. Brett, it's so good to have you. Welcome to the floor of the House. Representative Craig Williams from Chester County has Justin Zachar, who is a recent graduate from Penn State Brandywine, in Representative Williams' district office on the floor. Justin, where are you? Welcome to the floor of the House. Representative Alzheimer, who serves his neighbors in Wayne, has Tim Morey and Lance Spodek from the Blooming Grove Township Supervisors. They are, Blooming Grove Township Supervisors in the Capitol, along with Doug Miller from his legislative district office. With the supervisors and the DO staff member, please stand. Thank you all for serving your neighbors back home. Welcome. Representative Malagary has his legislative summer interns along with his district director, Gretchen Berry. We have Brian Scott from the University of Miami, Mira Anungdo from North Penn High School, who's going to Rutgers, Rohan Hossein from North Penn High School, who's going to Montco Community College. We have Curtis Moore from West Virginia, newly elected as a committee person in Montgomery County. With these members of the team, please stand. We're glad to have you on the floor today. Thank you for being here. Are there requests for leaves of absence? The chair recognizes the majority whip, who indicates there are none. The chair recognizes the minority whip, who indicates there are none. The chair is about to take the master roll call. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote. 202 members having voted on the master roll call. A quorum is present. The chair recognizes Representative Waschinsky, Chair of the Committee on Agriculture and Rural Affairs, who reports the following bills. House Bill 2625, reported as committee. Will the House agree the bill is agreed to? Chair recognizes Representative Samuelson, Chair of the Committee on Finance, who reports the following bills. House Bill 2193, reported as amended. Will the House agree the bill is agreed to? House Bill 2610, reported as amended. Will the House agree the bill is agreed to? Chair referred the following bills, which the clerk will now read.
Referrals June 15, 2026. House Bill 2637, Communications and Technology. House Bill 2639 to Finance, and House Resolution 569 to Intergovernmental Affairs and Operations.
Chair recognizes the good gentleman from the Lehigh, Majority Whip, Representative Schlossberg, for a caucus announcement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, House Democrats will caucus at 12:30. We will be prepared to return to the floor at 1:30. Additionally, there will be an immediate meeting of the House Rules Committee in the Majority Caucus Room upon the break.
Chair thanks the gentleman. Chair recognizes the gentlelady from Philadelphia, Representative White, for a caucus announcement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. House Republicans will caucus at 12:30 and plan to return to the House floor at 1:30. Again, House Republicans will be caucusing at 12:30. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Chair thanks the gentlelady. Chair recognizes Representative Schweier for a committee announcement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The House Education Committee will hold a voting meeting immediately, now at the first break, in room 205 in the Ryan Office Building. The purpose of this voting meeting will be to vote on the following pieces of legislation: House Bill 2632, House Bill 2633, and House Bill 2634, and any other business that may come before the committee. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Chair thanks the good gentleman. Chair recognizes the gentleman, Representative Nielsen, for a committee announcement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The House Transportation Committee will meet at 11:40 in room 515 of the Irvis Office Building to consider House Bill 1296, House Bill 2219, House Bill 2233, House Bill 2549, Senate Bill 481, Senate Bill 1181, and Senate Bill 1294, along with any other business that may come before the committee. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Chair thanks the gentleman. Chair recognizes the gentleman from the Lehigh, from Lackawanna County, Representative Mullins, for a committee announcement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Appropriations Committee will meet in the Majority Caucus Room immediately following the Rules Committee meeting. All members of the Appropriations Committee, please start making your way to the Majority Caucus Room. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Chair thanks the gentleman. The House will stand in recess until 1:30 p.m. unless sooner recalled by the Speaker.
The hour of 1:30 having arrived, the House will come to order. The chair recognizes Representative Harris, chair of the Committee on Appropriations, who reports the following bills. House Bill 2243, re-reported as committed. Will the House agree to the report? Agreed to. House Bill 2264, re-reported as committed. Will the House agree to the report? Agreed to. House Bill 2307, re-reported as committed. Will the House agree to the report? Agreed to. House Bill 2460, re-reported as committed. Will the House agree to the report? Agreed to. The chair recognizes Representative Bradford, chair of the Committee on Rules, who reports the following bills. House Bill 1967, re-reported as committed. Will the House agree to the report? Agreed to. House Bill 2224, re-reported as committed. Will the House agree to the report? Agreed to. House Bill 2299, re-reported as committed. Will the House agree to the report? Agreed to. House Bill 2586, re-reported as committed. Will the House agree to the report? Agreed to. The chair recognizes Representative Nielsen, chair of the Committee on Transportation, who reports the following bills. House Bill 1296, reported as committed. Will the House agree to the bill? Agreed to. House Bill 2219, reported as committed. Will the House agree to the bill? Agreed to. House Bill 2233, reported as amended. I said committed, not amended. Does that matter? Should I go back to it?
Yeah, just correct.
Will the House agree to the bill? Agreed to. A correction, House Bill 2219, reported as amended. Will the House agree to the bill? Agreed to. House Bill 2549, reported as amended. Will the House agree to the bill? Agreed to. Senate Bill 481, reported as amended. Will the House agree to the bill? Agreed to. Senate Bill 1181, reported as committed. Will the House agree to the bill? Agreed to. Senate Bill 1294, reported as committed. Will the House agree to the bill? Agreed to. The chair recognizes the Majority Leader, who calls up House Resolution 541, printers number 3457 on page 9 of today's House calendar. The clerk will read a summary of the resolution.
A resolution recognizing the month of June 2026 as Aphasia Awareness Month in Pennsylvania to increase awareness and understanding of aphasia to support improved diagnosis and treatment. Introduced by Representative Marla Brown.
Will the House agree to the resolution? And on that question, the chair recognizes the representative from Lawrence County, Representative Brown.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise in support of House Resolution 541, designating June as Aphasia Awareness Month in Pennsylvania. And I'm proudly wearing my gray today, which identifies aphasia awareness. Aphasia is a communication disorder that affects more than 2 million Americans, including approximately 75,000 Pennsylvanians. It is most often caused by a stroke or a brain injury and can impact a person's ability to speak, read, write, or understand language. Despite affecting so many people, awareness of aphasia remains very low. In fact, most Americans have never heard of it. One of the most important things to understand is that aphasia does not affect intelligence. People living with aphasia still have the same thoughts, knowledge, and abilities. They simply face challenges expressing themselves and communicating with others. I would like to recognize Kimberly Jones, who visited my office and shared her personal story with me. She's actually here with us today. 14 years ago, Kimberly suffered a stroke and was diagnosed with aphasia. Before her stroke, she graduated high school at age 16. She spoke 5 languages and held leadership positions with PNC Bank, BNY Mellon, and Westinghouse. Today, Kimberly continues to serve her community and advocate for others living with aphasia. She's the president of the Slippery Rock Alumni Association and works with organizations dedicated to raising awareness and improving support for those affected by this condition. Her story is a reminder that people living with aphasia have much to contribute and deserve our understanding and support. So Kimberly, today, I see you, I hear you, and I stand with you. I ask for an affirmative vote on House Resolution 541, and thank you for helping raise awareness for aphasia across the Commonwealth.
The chair thanks the gentlelady. Those in favor of the resolution will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? The clerk will record the vote. On the resolution, the ayes are 201, the nays are 1. The resolution is adopted. The chair recognizes the majority leader who calls up House Bill 1967, printers number 2482 on page 2 of supplemental calendar H. The clerk will read a summary of the bill.
This bill designates a portion of Allegheny River Boulevard in Allegheny County as a scenic byway.
For the record, that's supplemental calendar A. Will the House agree to the bill? Agreed to. The chair recognizes the majority leader who calls up House Bill 2586, printers number 3477 on page 2 of supplemental calendar A. The clerk will read a summary of the bill.
This bill establishes title protection for music therapists in Pennsylvania.
Will the House agree to the bill? Agreed to. The House will come to order. We have some very special guests on the House floor today. Representative Dawkins of the 179th District in Philadelphia welcomes the Juvenile Justice Center of Philadelphia's Executive Director, Jeannie Glasgow, and her team, Kyrie McKee, Alandria Elliott, and Antoinette Purnell, who is Representative Dawkins' cousin. They're here with a group of young people advocating for criminal justice bills. May our guests please stand. We warmly welcome you to the floor of the House. Thank you for joining us today. The chair recognizes the majority leader who calls up House Bill 95, printers number 3348 on page 1 of today's House calendar. The clerk will read a summary of the bill.
This bill requires disclosure of content in advertising that has been generated or substantially modified by artificial intelligence.
Will the House agree to the bill? Agreed to. The chair recognizes the majority leader who calls up House Bill 1944, printers number 2453 on page 2 of today's House calendar. The clerk will read a summary of the bill.
This bill improves campus safety by updating medical amnesty and Good Samaritan protections.
Will the House agree to the bill? Representative Briggs offers Amendment A03654. Will the House agree to the amendment? And on that question, the chair recognizes Representative Briggs.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to urge a yes vote on Amendment 03654. Madam Speaker, this amendment moves the immunity language to Section 2705 and creates an exception for individuals causing the underlying medical emergency. This amendment addresses several concerns raised on this bill, and I urge a yes vote. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The chair thanks the gentleman. And on that question, the chair recognizes the gentleman from Mercer County, Representative Bonner.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The amendment to House Bill 1944 generally amends the reckless endangerment statute by giving immunity to an individual who has recklessly endangered others. There is immunity then from prosecution generally as to the reckless endangerment statute. This immunity would be present then in situations that do not involve the consumption of alcohol by minors, but it would be available in all reckless endangerment cases brought by the Commonwealth. There's a comparable statute, Section 6308.1 of the Crimes Code. It gives similar immunity to an individual who is charged with underage drinking. It states that someone who consumes alcohol and is in a medically impaired condition, if there is an individual there who is present and has also been drinking alcohol in violation of the law, he can have immunity if he makes a call to the police, he identifies himself, he remains on site until the police arrive, and he gives direct help to that individual for whom the call is made. These are appropriate conditions then for immunity relative to the charge of reckless endangerment. But in this amendment, immunity will be given to an individual who is present when someone else has consumed alcohol or somehow been endangered by others. But the individual who is seeking the immunity does not have to remain on site, but can make a telephone call 3, 4, or 5 days later to report the incident after the medical emergency has already passed. This amendment then makes no sense. Unlike the other immunity provision, the individual does not have to remain at the scene, does not have to identify himself immediately, does not have to offer the individual who is in jeopardy any assistance whatsoever. I then oppose Amendment 3654 as it is too broad, it is too vague, and it extends the concept of immunity to someone who really hasn't acted properly under the circumstance as other immunity statutes so require. Thank you.
The chair thanks the gentleman. And on that question, the chair recognizes the gentlelady from Allegheny County, Representative Kincaid.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the purpose of this underlying bill and why the amendment was, why this amendment has been negotiated and included, there were 2 students at Bloomsburg University who were charged with reckless endangerment. They weren't consuming alcohol, they weren't consuming drugs, but they did render aid to another student who had been left by his friends in the bathroom while experiencing alcohol poisoning. And the students that rendered aid were the only people in this situation that were charged with a crime. The student who had been drinking underage was not charged. The friends who abandoned him were not charged. There was no effort made to find the person who supplied the alcohol. It was only these 2 students who actually rendered aid and called for help that were charged with reckless endangerment. Representative Friel and I thought that that was a grave injustice and it should not happen again. But the legislation that we proposed in 1944 and in HB 1945 didn't necessarily capture effectively enough the ability to actually grant immunity under these circumstances. because we need to make sure that we are actually providing immunity to people who are charged with reckless endangerment when they seek help for someone who is experiencing a medical emergency. We want people to call for help. And I will remind this body that there are over 1,500 crimes in Pennsylvania. If someone is immune from the reckless endangerment statute because they rendered aid and they called for help, that does not mean that they cannot be charged under some other provision of our criminal code. This amendment merely clarifies and streamlines what we have been attempting to do, which is to ensure that people who call for help are not punished for doing so. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The chair thanks the gentlelady. Those in favor of the amendment will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? The clerk will record the vote. On the amendment, the ayes are 106, the nays are 96. The amendment is agreed to. Will the House agree to the bill? Agreed to. The bill as amended will be reprinted. Members, the House will come to order to recognize another set of distinguished guests who have joined us here today. Representative Marla Brown from the 9th District in Lawrence County warmly welcomes Kimberly, Gail Dede, and Ann Rossi, who are at the Capitol today to bring awareness for Aphasia Awareness Month for the resolution that we just voted on. Kimberly survived a stroke 14 years ago and was diagnosed with aphasia. She actively contributes to the Pittsburgh advocacy group Temple Aphasia Group and multilingual research at Boston University Center for Brain Recovery as she speaks 5 languages. May our guests rise as they are able. We warmly welcome you to the floor of the House. The chair recognizes the majority leader who calls up House Bill 2299, printers number 3019 on page 1 of supplemental calendar A. The clerk will read a summary of the bill.
This bill provides for body cameras for county probation officers.
Will the House agree to the bill? Representative Flick offers amendment A03675. Will the House agree to the amendment? On that question, the chair recognizes Representative Flick.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, my amendment would allow individuals simply to make recordings during court proceedings. This language is drawn from House Bill 1397, which is designed to strengthen and improve our judicial system. While courts maintain official transcripts, those transcripts do not always capture nonverbal cues, tones, or other important aspects of courtroom interactions. Allowing recordings will promote greater transparency in court and accountability within the judicial process. and can also serve as a deterrent to unethical and inappropriate conduct in the courtroom. This protects everyone in the courtroom, judges, lawyers, and litigants. Madam Speaker, at the same time, this amendment includes important safeguards for sensitive matters. It prohibits recordings in cases involving sexual abuse, domestic violence, sexual violence, child witnesses, and confidential informants, ensuring that those individuals and protected information remain secure. Madam Speaker, sadly, Pennsylvania is one of only four states that does not allow cameras in the courtroom. Please let this body not forget, Madam Speaker, the Kids for Cash scandal that nearly wrecked this Commonwealth. Having cameras in the courtroom, Madam Speaker, may very well have prevented that. I urge a yes vote on Amendment 3675. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The chair thanks the gentleman. And on that question, the chair recognizes the maker of the bill, Representative Bizzarro.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I can appreciate the gentleman trying to make the courts more transparent. However, I must ask the members to vote no. This amendment violates the separation of powers doctrine of the Pennsylvania Constitution. We cannot mandate the courts to allow something in their courtrooms any more than a judge can change our House rules. I'm again asking the members to vote no. Thank you.
The chair thanks the gentleman. Those in favor of the amendment will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? The clerk will record the vote. On the amendment, the ayes are 97, the nays are 105. The amendment fails. Will the House agree to the bill? Agreed to. The chair recognizes the majority leader who calls up House Bill 2443, printer's number 3253 on page 2 of today's House calendar. The clerk will read a summary of the bill.
This bill provides for a Child Victim Recovery Fund.
Will the House agree to the bill? Representative Rabb offers Amendment A03456. Will the House agree to the amendment? On that question, the chair recognizes Representative Schlossberg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, on behalf of the gentleman from Philadelphia, I rise to offer Amendment 03456, which stipulates that prior to imposing a fee or installment payment, the court must determine whether or not the defendant is able to pay. It also prohibits the court from establishing a mandatory minimum installment payment that is not based on the individual defendant's ability to pay. It is my understanding that this is an agreed-to amendment, and I ask the members to vote yes.
The chair thanks the gentleman. Those in favor of the amendment will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? The clerk will record the vote. On the amendment, the yeas are 104, the nays are 98. The amendment is agreed to. Representative Clunk offers amendment A03486. Will the House agree to the amendment? On that question, the chair recognizes Representative Clunk.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The purpose of this legislation is very straightforward: to provide additional resources for children advocacy centers that serve child victims of sexual abuse and exploitation throughout our Commonwealth. However, as the currently drafted bill states, it defines a covered offense using a relatively short list of sexual crimes while excluding many of the most serious sexual offenses under our Pennsylvania law, including child rape and human trafficking. As a result, individuals convicted of those offenses would not be required to pay the child victim recovery fee established by this bill, even though the victims of those crimes rely upon the very child advocacy centers this legislation intends to support. This amendment corrects this oversight by expanding the definition of a covered offense to include all offenses under SORNA that required sexual offender registration. I want to thank Chairman Briggs and his staff and the maker of the bill, Representative Mullins, for working with me on this amendment to make sure that all of our victims of child sexual abuse who use our child advocacy centers, those children get the services that they need, and that those who hurt our children are punished accordingly. Thank you very much, and I ask for your affirmative vote. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The chair thanks the gentlelady. And on that question, the chair recognizes the maker of the bill, Representative Mullins.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I appreciate the gentlewoman working well with us and offering this amendment. It is an agreed-to amendment, and I would urge all members to vote in the affirmative. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The chair thanks the gentleman. Those in favor of the amendment will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? The clerk will record the vote. On the amendment, the ayes are 202, the nays are 0. The amendment is agreed to. Representative Briggs offers amendment 3650. Will the House agree to the amendment? On that question, the chair recognizes Representative Briggs.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to ask for an affirmative vote on amendment 03650. This amendment will delete 4 words in the bill that unintentionally could have limited the use of these funds. This amendment will make certain that child advocacy centers will be permitted to use any funds raised under this bill for all the children they provide services to. This is an agreed-to amendment, and I urge a yes vote. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The chair thanks the gentleman. Those in favor of the amendment will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? The clerk will record the vote. On the amendment, the ayes are 202, the nays are 0. The amendment is agreed to. Will the House agree to the bill? Agreed to. The bill as amended will be reprinted. The chair recognizes the Majority Leader, who calls up House Bill 2464, printer's number 3299 on page 1 of today's House calendar. The clerk will read a summary of the bill.
This bill replaces the Public Welfare Code with Human Services Code and Department of Public Welfare with Department of Human Services under the Insurance Company Law of 1921.
Will the House agree to the bill? Representative Nelson offers Amendment A03459. Will the House agree to the amendment? On that question, the chair recognizes Representative Nelson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Amendment 3259 makes technical corrections to the insurance company law consistent with prior actions of the General Assembly. The updates included in this amendment are in addition to the technical changes made in the underlying bill. I want to thank the fine lady from Philadelphia and Chair Warren for working on this amendment and ask for an affirmative vote. Thank you, Madam Chair. Speaker.
The chair thanks the gentleman. And on that question, the chair recognizes the maker of the bill, Representative Parker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I thank the gentleman from Westmoreland County, Representative Nelson, for bringing forward this amendment, A03259. This is an agreed to amendment, and I would ask all members to please vote in the affirmative. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The chair thanks the gentlelady. Those in favor of the amendment will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? The clerk will record the vote. On the amendment, the ayes are 202, the nays are 0. The amendment is agreed to. Will the House agree to the bill? Agreed to. The bill as amended will be reprinted. The chair recognizes the majority leader who calls up House Bill 1616, printer's number 3333 on page 3 of today's House calendar. Will the House agree to the bill? Agreed to. The clerk will read the title and a brief description of the bill.
This bill provides for sentencing considerations for child victim offenders.
This bill has been considered on 3 different days and agreed to. The question is, shall the bill pass finally? And on that question, the chair recognizes the maker of the bill, Representative Donahue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise today to urge members to vote affirmatively on House Bill 1616. Madam Speaker, this bill is intended to protect infants and children from human trafficking. First, the bill makes the penalty consistent for trafficking an infant as it is for trafficking a child over the age of 1 year old. Second, the bill gives judges discretion to depart from a mandatory minimum sentence when they are sentencing a child victim of human trafficking or sex trafficking who committed a crime against their trafficker. House Bill 1616 recognizes the difficult balance between accountability and common sense. We must realize that but for the horrific and cruel trafficking and abuse itself, some offenses will likely never happen. Madam Speaker, we should be doing all we can to protect infants and children from human trafficking and sex trafficking, and this bill will do just that. I urge a yes vote. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The chair thanks the gentleman. And on that question, the chair recognizes the gentlelady from Montgomery County, Representative Sharon.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise as the maker of House Bill 910, legislation that addresses increased penalties for trafficking in infants, which was amended into House Bill 1616 in the Judiciary Committee. I also rise as a member of the bipartisan, bicameral Anti-Human Trafficking Caucus. Under current law, an individual who engages in human trafficking by recruiting, harboring, transporting, or providing someone under the age of 18 to engage in forced labor or service can be charged with a felony of the first degree. House Bill 910 specifically states that those who traffic infants will be subject to the same felony of the first degree grading. I introduced this bill because I understand the importance of holding accountable the vile, disgusting individuals who prey on others for financial gain and/or sexual perversion. But when infants who have no voice and no ability to protect themselves are trafficked, it exposes the deepest cruelty of this crime and reminds us of our moral responsibility to defend the most vulnerable. Human trafficking is a profound violation of human rights, regardless of age, because it strips people of their freedom and dignity. The mission of the Anti-Human Trafficking Caucus in the General Assembly is to coordinate efforts, strengthen laws, support victims, and crack down on trafficking across the Commonwealth. I am grateful to the members of the House Judiciary Committee for passing House Bill 910 out of their committee, and although there are many other issues in this particular bill, I am also grateful that the language of my bill is moving forward here in House Bill 1616, and I will be a yes vote. Without knowing whether the Senate will consider House Bill 1616 in its entirety, I still hold out hope that the 8 chairmen of the Anti-Human Trafficking Caucus who selected House Bill 910 as their first piece of signature legislation will one day move House Bill 910 through the House and Senate on its own. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The chair thanks the gentlelady. And on that question, the chair recognizes the gentleman from Mercer County, Representative Bonner.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Last session, I voted against a different version of this bill, but which contained many of the same principles set forth in this legislation. This bill, however, is a significant improvement over the bill that we considered last session. House Bill 1843 last session allowed as an affirmative defense in front of the jury the fact that an individual was trafficked or abused, and the jury could then use it to return a verdict of not guilty. That bill was breaking centuries of law, both in England and the United States, which said that only insanity can be used as an affirmative defense when you're talking about an individual's state of mind to result in an acquittal. And I believe that is the proper law. Stress or abuse should not be allowed as an affirmative defense in front of a jury. So this bill is a significant improvement over the last version of it, because this bill does not interfere with the process going on before the jury as it determines whether someone committed the crime or not. That process will still occur under this bill. So we're going to have a true determination of who would be responsible for the crime committed against a particular victim, hopefully with that victim being alive, but if not, justice for that victim even as they have been killed. So we're going to get a verdict on what happened. This bill then simply says that following that verdict, a judge has the power and authority to set aside a sentence, not the conviction, but a sentence. And that's a big difference between these two bills. The other bill I deem to be vigilante justice. This bill is not that case. Judges inherently have the power to do what we're now going to codify under law. So this bill does not make a significant change or difference in our judicial system. In that respect, then, I will be supporting this bill and ask for your support as well. Thank you.
The chair thanks the gentleman. This bill has been considered on 3 different days and agreed to. Agreeable to the provisions of the Constitution, the yeas and nays will now be taken. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? The clerk will record the vote. On the final passage of the bill, the yeas are 200, the nays are 2. The majority required by the Constitution having voted in the affirmative, the bill passes finally, and the clerk will present the same to the Senate for concurrence. The chair recognizes the majority leader, who calls up House Bill 2243, printers number 3606 on page 2 of supplemental calendar B. Will the House agree to the bill? Agreed to. The clerk will read the title and a brief description of the bill.
This bill prevents unnecessary prosecution of trafficked children.
This bill has been considered on 3 different days and agreed to. The question is, shall the bill pass finally? And on that question, the chair recognizes the maker of the bill, Representative Webster.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Colleagues, House Bill 2243 supports minors, children, who are victims of human trafficking. And I want to thank the lady from York whose amendment you accepted yesterday that made this bill just a little bit tighter, a little bit better. It ensures, House Bill 2243 ensures that children that are found to be sexually exploited will not be further victimized by being prosecuted for a nonviolent crime they were forced to commit in servitude. This legislation would also ensure that trafficked minors cannot be charged with offenses related to prostitution. In other words, they cannot be charged with a crime that is a result of their exploitation. All too often, currently, minor victims of human trafficking enter the juvenile justice system as a result of being forced to commit a crime by their trafficker. While Pennsylvania's safe harbor laws protect victims from being prosecuted for some offenses, victims who have been forced to commit more serious crimes may not be exempt, and in many cases, under current law, even if they are ultimately not prosecuted for these crimes, victims will still have to endure the trauma of being arrested and having to go through the juvenile justice system. That causes additional trauma, and I'm sure you recognize that. Under House Bill 2243, these children can begin the healing process directly and maybe put their lives back together. So I would ask, please join me to ensure that minors who have been trafficked and sexually exploited, who have already gone through horrific experiences, are not punished for being a survivor. Thank you, Madam Chair.
The chair thanks the gentleman. Agreeable to the provisions of the Constitution, the yeas and nays will now be taken. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? 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 The clerk will record the vote. On the final passage of the bill, the yeas are 198, the nays are 4. The majority required by the Constitution having voted in the affirmative, the bill passes finally, and the clerk will present the same to the Senate for concurrence. The chair recognizes the majority leader, who calls up House Bill 2264, printers number 3369 on page 1 of supplemental calendar B. Will the House agree to the bill? Agreed to. The clerk will read the title and a brief description of the bill.
This bill requires electric distribution companies to create virtual power plant programs.
This bill has been considered on 3 different days and agreed to. The question is, shall the bill pass finally? And on that question, the chair recognizes the maker of the bill, Representative Davidson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise today and ask for your vote for House Bill 2264, a common sense measure to attack rising energy costs here in the Commonwealth for families and businesses. This bill is about energy affordability, and if we choose to be so bold, would create a pathway to lowering utility bills by this time next year. And if that's interesting to you, I think you'll support this bill. You know, oftentimes our conversation about energy affordability veers into the supply side, but this bill attacks the demand side. Yes, we do need more baseload generation, but we need to take advantage of the energy that we already have deployed on the grid. You see, right now, when our grid faces extreme cold or heat events, we have to rely on inefficient peaker plants, or utility companies engage in expensive power purchases, and those costs are passed on to us, the consumers, and our neighbors. And this legislation offers a market-driven solution. Virtual power plants allow ratepayer-owned resources like batteries, smart thermostats, electric vehicles, and others to work together to reduce demand during those peak times. And by lowering peak demand, we can reduce the need for costly grid upgrades or those expensive power purchases that ultimately get passed along to the ratepayers. This is an easy one, folks. Participants in the virtual power plant see a direct benefit in their bill for the energy they deploy onto the grid. And if you decide not to participate in the virtual power plant, you also see a benefit because our overall energy demand will be decreased and rates will go down. You know, our neighbors in Maryland and New York are moving forward with virtual power plants. In Virginia, our Commonwealth to the south, of all the energy proposals legislative Democrats sent to their Republican governor, this was one that he signed. And in Texas, for the past 4 years, millions of dollars every year are put back into the pockets of ratepayers through virtual power plants. Madam Speaker, we cannot afford to wait. Standing up virtual power plants in Pennsylvania will lower utility costs within the year, and we can't wait to deploy new baseload generation that will take years, many years, to site, permit, and build. Our neighbors and constituents need support and help today. Let's move Pennsylvania forward in the 21st century. I ask my colleagues for an affirmative vote. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The chair thanks the gentleman. And on that question, the chair recognizes the gentleman from McKean County, Representative Causer.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we need real baseload energy production in the Commonwealth. We know that our grid is not as secure as it should be. We know that we need to be adding more power to the grid. We know that we have multiple opportunities in front of us, but Madam Speaker, this bill is a very costly mandate that does not solve the problem. When you look at the other states who have enacted legislation like this, consider the energy policy in these other states. And which states am I speaking of? California, Maryland, New York, Illinois, Minnesota, New Mexico, Virginia, Massachusetts. I don't think we want to follow the energy policy in the states that I just mentioned. Madam Speaker, please join me in voting no on this legislation. Thank you.
The chair thanks the gentleman. Agreeable to the provisions of the Constitution, the yeas and nays will now be taken. Members will proceed to vote. The clerk, have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? The clerk will record the vote. On the final passage of the bill, the yeas are 107, the nays are 95. The majority required by the Constitution having voted in the affirmative, the bill passes finally, and the clerk will present the same to the Senate for concurrence. The House will be at ease.
House will come to order. Chair recognizes the Majority Leader who calls up House Bill 2307, printers number 3040 on page 1 of Supplemental Calendar B. Will the House agree the bill is agreed to? The clerk will read the title and a brief description of the bill.
This bill would implement reforms recommended by the Special Education Funding Commission to improve the Special Education Contingency Fund.
This bill has been considered on 3 different days and agreed to. Question is, shall the bill pass the House finally? Agreeable to the provisions of the Constitution, the yeas and nays will now be taken. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote. On the final passage of the bill, the yeas are 202, the nays are 0. The majority required by the Constitution having voted in the affirmative, the bill passes the House finally. Clerk will present the same to the Senate for concurrence. Colleagues, our colleague who serves Philadelphia County, Representative Kenyatta, has some special guests that have joined us for afternoon session. Starting with a special guest from North Philadelphia, we are thrilled to welcome Venus Daniels, a longtime constituent of Representative Kenyatta. She recently retired. She's been wanting to come to the state capitol, and today she is here. Ms. Venus Daniels, welcome to the floor of the House. Also seated to the left of the Speaker's rostrum, our colleague Representative Kenyatta has another special guest who is here for the first time as well in the state capitol. It is the chair's honor to welcome the Honorable Justin J. Pearson, state representative in Tennessee, born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee, who has fought for justice long before he was elected to serve his neighbors in the 86th Legislative District. Representative Justin Pearson has been serving his neighbors in the 86th Legislative District in the Tennessee General Assembly since 2023. He is a justice warrior, democracy champion. He organizes and he activates people power. He co-founded the Memphis Community Against Pollution in 2020, an environmental and climate justice nonprofit, and Movement for Justice Rooted in Love to move forward in the fight for environmental justice against political incompetence that led to a data center polluting his community. He is married to Oceana Gilliam, who's a law student at the Cecil Humphreys School of Law at the University of Memphis, and most of our colleagues have been blessed to watch his fight for justice from afar. We are beyond thrilled that he is in Dauphin County for the day celebrating Juneteenth. Our colleague, all the way from the great state of Tennessee, please stand. Welcome to the floor of the House. Chair recognizes Representative Schweier, Chair of the Committee on Education, who reports the following bills. House Bill 2632, reported as committee. Will the House agree the bill is agreed to? House Bill 2633, reported as committee. Will the House agree the bill is agreed to? House Bill 2634, reported as amended. Will the House agree the bill is agreed to? Majority Leader moves that the following bills be recommitted to the Committee on Appropriations. House Bill 95, House Bill 1944, House Bill 1967, House Bill 2299, House Bill 2443, House Bill 2464, House Bill 2586. The Majority Leader moves that the following bill be removed from the table calendar and be placed on the active calendar. House Bill 2473. Chair referred the following bills, which the clerk will now read.
Referrals, June 16, 2026. House Bill 2641, Appropriations. House Bill 2643 to Commerce. House Resolution 570 to Health. House Bill 2619 and Senate Bill 1260, both the Labor and Industry. House Bill 2640 and House Bill 2642, both the Transportation.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from Philadelphia for an announcement for his caucus, Representative Kenyatta.
Quick caucus announcement. If the Democratic caucus could join me in the well of the House, we're going to take a big picture with Representative Pearson, and then the Black caucus, we're going to take a picture of Representative Pearson. So if Democratic members could all come down, that'd be fantastic. Thank you.
Chair thanks the gentleman. For the information of the members, there will be no further votes. The chair is in receipt of a motion from the gentleman, Representative Kenyatta, that the House now adjourn until Wednesday, June 17, 2026 at 11 a.m. unless sooner recalled by the Speaker. Questions on the motion? Those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the House stands adjourned until Wednesday, June 17, 2026 at 11 a.m. unless sooner recalled by the Speaker.